Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Arpita Karwa and today we are unlocking another chapter in the History of English Literature series, that is the Age of Revival. For those of you who've been following my channel so far, must be aware of the fact that we are doing this special crash course series wherein we are looking at each of the ages of history of English literature, and we are looking at the major works, major writers, and all the important points that you have to keep in mind from UGC NET exam perspective. In the last video last week we discussed Age of Chaucer. Now today we are moving little ahead of time and we are going to look at the Age of Revival. Post which in the upcoming week we are going to look at the most important age of the entire history of English literature, that is the Elizabethan period, known as the golden age of English literature. So make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you get notified when the video comes up next week. Okay, so now when we have to look at the age of revival, the first thing that you have to keep in mind is that you have to think of this age as a bridge that connects the medieval world with the world of Renaissance. Now, it was a time of new ideas, fresh perspective, and strong comeback of classical learning. Writers moved away from the old traditions and they started experimenting with themes that later shaped the golden age of English literature. So, in today's video, as we always do, we are going to cover all the exam relevant pointers, including we are going to look at the historic background and the key events that happened during the Age of Revival. We are going to look at the development of English literature during this era. We are going to look at the characteristics and themes that were prominent during this time. And then we are going to look at the major writers and the works that shaped the poetry that was prominent during this period. So, if you want to master Age of Revival in just 10 minutes, this revision capsule is exactly what you need. So, let's get started. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more valuable content. This video is a part of the chronological series that we are doing on the history of English literature, and you can find all the videos of this particular series in the playlist section. So, let's begin. Okay, friends, so let's begin our discussion by first looking at the socio-political background of the Age of Revival. Now, this period spans from 1400 to 1550 AD. So, this ended right before Queen Elizabeth came to the throne, and that led to the start of the Elizabethan period. So, it ranged for about 150 years, and this was one of the most dramatic and eventful times in English history. It was marked by wars, rebellions, and intellectual awakening. And you'll be surprised that there was also a very big religious transformation that shaped the future of England, and that happened during this period. So let's break it down in simple terms and let's look at the key events that happened during this period. Now, as I mentioned that this era was full of chaos and conflict, some key events included the first one is Battle of Agincourt. Now, it was a significant battle between England and France in the 100 Years' War. If you remember my last lecture wherein we discussed the 100-Year War, I mentioned how important this war was, and one very important battle that was fought between this war was the Battle of Agincourt. Now, King Henry V of England led his army to a surprising victory against a much larger French force, and that led to that feeling of patriotism throughout Britain. The next important event that happened was the Cade's Rebellion. Now, it was a large revolt by common people against Henry VI. It was led by Jack Cade. The rebellion was triggered by corruption in the government and unfair taxation. And finally, the third one is one of our favorite, that was War of the Roses. I'm sure that anybody who has ever read any book on history of English literature would have come across this term War of the Roses. This spanned from 1455 till 1485. And it was a civil war that happened between two royal families, House of Lancaster, that was represented by Red Rose, and House of York, that was represented by the White Rose, and both families wanted the English throne, leading to years of battles and instability. So these were the three major historical events that happened during this period. Now, another interesting thing that you have to know about this Age of Revival is that during the Middle Ages, learning and knowledge was controlled by the church. However, with the Age of Revival, there was a shift towards education and reasoning. as well as classical studies. Those of you who don't know, let me tell you that crusades करके एक चीज हुई थी जहाँ पे काफी सारे लोग यूरोप के अलग अलग कंट्रीज में गए थे एंड वहां से उन्होंने ग्रीक हिस्ट्री, रोमन हिस्ट्री के बारे में बहुत सारी बुक्स के बारे में उन्हें पता चला एंड दे गॉट दोज बुक्स विथ देम टू देयर कंट्री एंड दे स्टार्टेड रीडिंग इट एंड दैट इज व्हाट लेड टू द रिवाइवल ऑफ द क्लासिकल स्टडीज, classical knowledge. Okay, and that is the reason why this age is termed as the age of revival. Another biggest revolution that happened in the field of learning came with the printing press that was introduced by William Caxton. Now, earlier books were handwritten and expensive, only available to the rich and to people from the church. Printing press made books affordable and accessible to common people, leading to widespread of knowledge. And this helped in the growth of literature, philosophy, and scientific thinking. So, जैसे ही printing आई, again बुक्स एंड लिटरेचर को लेके एक बहुत बड़ा रिवोल्यूशन टाइप का हो गया जहाँ पे हर इंसान, हर कॉमन मैन के पास में बुक्स थी एंड दैट काइंड ऑफ गेव बर्थ टू व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू लुक इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियो, दैट इज द Renaissance or the age of Elizabeth. Now, another important thing that I would want to point out before we move on to the writers and the literary characteristics is that earlier monasteries were the only centers of education. But now, during this age of revival, what happened? Schools and universities were established in the cities, and you'll be surprised to know that University of Oxford and Cambridge was set around this period and a little before this period. I would love to know how knowledgeable my audience is, and if you could just put in the comment section the date when University of Oxford and University of Cambridge was established. So I would love to know those dates from you. Next important thing that you would want to understand before knowing more about the writers is that Greek philosophy, literature, and science started influencing English scholars, laying the foundation for the Renaissance. As I told you that a lot of people who were a part of the Crusades went to different countries and they got Greek and Roman text with them, and that is the reason why Greek philosophy and literature started becoming very popular in England and across all the other European countries. Another important thing related to religion was that there was a shift in focus from religious education to more secular education or secular knowledge, promoting critical thinking and creativity. Otherwise, पहले ऐसा होता था कि जो religious text में बोला गया है आप उसके deviate हो गए कुछ नहीं बोल सकते हो. For the first time during the age of revival, secular thinking, secular opinions started raising. Another important reform that happened during this age of revival was the Protestant Reformation. Remember in the beginning of the video, I told you a very important religious movement happened during this time which shaped the future of England, and that is Protestant Reformation. इसको सिर्फ Reformation भी कई लोग बोलते हैं, so you can use either of these two terms. Now, what was Protestant Reformation? It was a major religious movement that challenged the authority of the Catholic Church. And this was led by somebody called Martin Luther. Okay, he's different from the one who was fighting against the colonial spirit, Martin Luther King Jr., जिनका speech बहुत famous है. He is different, and this guy, Martin Luther, is different. Martin Luther was the one who led the Protestant Reformation, and he was questioning church control over people's life, and he was saying कि बस church जो बोल रहा है चाहे कितना ही corrupt हो हमें वो क्यों मानना है? Why cannot we believe in finding truth by ourselves? Why the truth has to come from Bible, from church? And this led to the creation of Protestant Christianity, which was breaking away from the Roman Catholic Church, and this was a very, very defining moment in the entire history of Britain. But before moving on, did I mention that I've created a special PDF that summarizes this entire video and provides you with exam ready notes. So whatever you see on screen, you don't have to scribble it on a notebook. You can directly get this entire video in a form of PDF. You just have to drop a message on the WhatsApp number that is flashing on your screen, or you can click on the WhatsApp link that is there in the description box, and my team is going to send the PDF right to your phone. Now is the time when we move to the next section where we are going to discuss the literary characteristics. Now, the 15th century saw very little originality in poetry because poetry was the dominant piece of literature. Novels and essays and non-fiction, fiction, that wasn't there in the picture. The only thing that was popular during the age of revival was poetry. And there was very little originality in poetry. Most poets were heavily influenced by Geoffrey Chaucer, who, as we saw in the last video, is termed as the father of English poetry. And all these writers who were writing during this period that we are going to look at them as well in the next section of this video, they all, you will see, they just copied Chaucer's theme, style and techniques so much that they were called Chaucerians. Okay, just like there was something called Son of Ben, the people who followed, the writers who followed Ben Jonson's style of writing. Similarly, we had a term here for people who followed Chaucer's theme, style and technique, and they were known as Chaucerians. Now, unlike today, where plagiarism is taken very seriously, there was no copyright law in England at that time. This means that poets were freely allowed to copy Chaucer's work without any restriction. And as the result, most 15th century poetry looked like a repetition of Chaucer's style and they lacked fresh ideas. Now, the biggest literary change of this period was the growth of English prose. Now, earlier, most serious writing was done in Latin, which was not accessible to the common people. If you've watched my video wherein I've discussed the Anglo-Norman age, I focused on the fact that Anglo-Norman age was nothing but when Latin and French was the language in which most of the literature was written. But now, in the age of revival, writers started using English, making literature easier to read and understand, and it became common amongst the normal people of England. And the credit for this entire change goes to none other than Mr. Geoffrey Chaucer, who wrote such beautiful works using English that all the writers were amazed and they started believing that it is possible to write something meaningful, write something which is timeless and classical in English language. Now, this shift helped in the spread of knowledge as more and more people could engage with literature, paving the way for the Renaissance. Renaissance क्या है? मैंने बार बार ये term use किया है. Don't worry, I'm going to discuss this in detail when I'm going to look at the Elizabethan age, because you cannot understand the age of Elizabeth without understanding what is Renaissance. So wait for my next video. Till then, you can hit the subscribe button. Okay, so now is the time when we look at the most important writers of the age of revival. But before that, if you're looking for video lectures wherein I explain the plot of all these important works of age of revival and all the other ages that we are going to discuss in the upcoming videos, then you can consider enrolling in my online course for UGC NET English, because I'm proud to launch India's first animated video course where I explain more than 500 important plays, novels and poems that have been repeatedly asked in UGC NET exam. For more details, you can check out the description box or you can give a call on the number that is flashing on your screen. So now is the time when we look at the most important writers who kind of defined this age of revival. So we are going to look at 6 of them. Okay, the first one and the most important Renaissance humanist, I would say, was Erasmus, and he was a Dutch scholar who influenced English thought, and his famous work is Praise of the Folly. It was a satirical attack on the corruption in the church as well as that we see in the society. Next up, I'm sure you all have heard of the work. This is a term that was given by Thomas More in the Dictionary of English Language, and that is utopia. So Thomas More, as you might have heard his name while reading or going through books of English history, he was a politician, philosopher as well as a writer, and his most famous work, I'm sure you all must know about, is Utopia, where he described an ideal society that was free from corruption, greed and inequality. And when I was reading Utopia, let me tell you very frankly that I wished that I could ever see a country like that existing today, I would not take any moment to go and visit the country and breathe that air, because it is so beautiful to see a place which is free from corruption, greed, and inequality. Recently, I got a chance to go to Chandigarh, and I was surprised to see how beautifully that city was designed. The roads were clean, nice, so much greenery, such rule abiding citizens, and most importantly, the structure of the entire city. Um, Very, very properly mapped city where you will have, um, you know, um uh, perpendicular roads which are intersecting. There is no litter. One of the cleanest cities I've ever been to. And I felt that, by looking at Chandigarh, somebody can feel that in India, it might not be possible with the level of population that we have, that a city can be as clean as Chandigarh, as managed, as structured as Chandigarh. But kudos to the ministry that is taking care of Chandigarh, both Haryana and Punjab. They're doing a fantastic job there. And that kind of made me go back to utopia, and made me ponder that is it not possible to have something of that sort happening throughout India? And Chandigarh just showcases a subset of what a utopian city would look like. So if you have ever visited Chandigarh, do share your views in the comments. If you ever plan to go to that city, I would suggest you to go as soon as possible, because it's a beautiful city. Something that I cannot even imagine a person would not like. People are great, the city is clean, the air is fresh, everything that a person can desire, that city has. Okay, coming back from that nostalgia of my trip, let's come back to the writers that we were discussing. The next one is William Tyndale. Now, this man is a religious reformer who translated Bible into English, making it accessible to common people. Earlier, the Bible was only available in Latin, and only priest could interpret it. It was this guy who translated it in English so that everybody, the common man, could read and understand it. Okay. Next up, we have Richard Tuttle. Now, this person is very, very important because he's the one who came up with something called miscellany, and that was nothing but a collection of poetry that preserved the works of poets like Thomas Watt and Henry Howard. Now, Thomas Watt and Henry Howard, those of you who don't know, have done immense contribution in structuring poetry, especially sonnets. And you can read more about these two writers, because again, whatever we are going to see happening in age of Elizabeth had to do a lot with what these guys began. So Thomas Watt and Henry Howard are two great writers who did a tremendous job in establishing sonnet, establishing poetry as the mode of communication, as the mode of passing on literary insights. And lastly, we have Thomas Mallory. Now, this guy, Thomas Mallory, is famous for the work Le Morte d'Arthur, and it's a collection of legends about King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Now, if you're wondering who is this King Arthur, I would request you to go back to my first video where I discuss Anglo-Saxon age, where I have done a thorough discussion on King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, and I told you that he was a mythical king who is going to become so important that time and again writers are going to come and talk about and write works about uh, Arthur and his knights. And finally, there are some other important writers, as I mentioned: Thomas Watt, Henry Howard, Roger Ascham, Thomas Elio, William Dunbar, and all the other Chaucerians who mimicked Chaucer's style. And together, they all form the most important writers of the age of revival. So, this entire list of writers and their most important works is available completely free of cost on my website, arpitakarwa.com. In fact, you will find an age wise chronological list of writers and their works all in one place. So, make sure to check out my website and take full advantage of these free resources. So, with that note, I would like to take leave from you. That's it from my side for this video lecture. We'll meet very soon in the next video lecture. Till the time we meet next, happy learning, keep loving literature, and stay tuned to arpitakarwa.com.